Fans here, this is amazing. Thank you guys so much for cheering everyone on. So I'm gonna just start off by allowing you guys just to introduce yourselves. So, why don't you start out first? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Christiane, hi. Nice
Hi.
to meet you. I'm so glad to be with you here today. I'm in crypto since 2016, more or less, and worked for several projects. And the one which catched me the most was actually NFT ticketing, because it's an amazing use case from my perspective to bring not only NFTs to the ones who know NFTs, but also to a base of persons which had not even have heard of crypto yet. Mm-hmm. So I worked with a company from Austria, so I have a lot of knowledge for the European side, because that's really different from the ones here in the US actually. So what about you?
Hey, my name is Ahmed Nimale. I'm the co-founder of Kid Labs. I've spent about 10 years in live event ticketing at Ticketmaster, Live Nation, Vivid Seats, on the product and engineering side. I'm really interested here in having a conversation about how we can make venues, artists, promoters' lives easier and create a new wave where it's less predatory and, a new 30 years that is blossomful for all creatives.
Hello everyone, my name is Elena Obukhova. I've been in crypto space from 2014, and I've been involved in many different activities where consulting companies own their business. And 1 year ago I started together with Olga Filatova, she's right there, a project called Flashback One, and we started as an NFT ticketing platform. And right now we're expanding also in the joint loyalty programs, because we understand that it's all about community. And all event organizers and merchants, they have so many pain points in common that Flashback can help to solve. And so we're disrupting that industry using NFT technology, making it very easy and simple to use for a general user.
Thank you so much, Elena. Thank you, guys. So a little bit of my background, I went to the University of Alabama when Nick Saban won the 3 national championships. And I also used to work in radio. And so just the concept of ticketing, at least when I was in school at Alabama, we had paper tickets. And my freshman and sophomore year, it was amazing because we could just transfer these tickets to one another and actually make some money. And so there were some kids that would make $400 per ticket, and that's how they would just survive the next month. But then it went to everything being digital, and you had your student ID in order to get in, and so there were no passbacks. So it was just the evolution of seeing that happen at Alabama, which is the largest football program in the country, and just super into ticketing. And then in radio. It's just so how is this the future, and how is this different from your perspective?
So basically, from my perspective, the most challenges we have when it comes to ticketing is the fraud. So I don't know if you heard about it, there was in Europe in May, the UEFA Championship for football, and half of the tickets were just fake.
Wow, I did not hear about that.
And that was, it was all over the news. That was really insane. And with the blockchain technology, you can actually serve this problem, because there is a limited amount of tickets. You have it on the blockchain, and you know if it's real or not. So this is really one of the biggest advantages I see here. And then not only, it needs to be from a technical perspective. So the thing the blockchain needs to have is performance and security. So also not every blockchain fits for that, because you have Ethereum, for example, which is really slow, but then if you have events all over the world, that's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. We don't want to be standing outside of the venue waiting for hours and hours just to get in. I mean, that would be a nightmare. I mean, I waited hours last night for a club, which was stupid, so I'm ready for the next transition.
So you need a
fraud
and technical solution for that, and I guess, Ahmed, you're working on something like this. More from a software side.
Yeah, more from a software side. So a little context for everybody in the room, 80 to 90% of tickets for major artists, festivals, are sold to scalpers through tools like Trade Desk, Auto Processor, and it doesn't give a fair environment for consumers to actually sell their tickets. This is a fundamental issue that exists based on the market today. Now, how do we solve this? How do we solve fraud? most of the tickets you buy on StubHub, SeatGeek, are sold by resellers. And they're called spec tickets. Spec tickets are tickets the broker or the scalper doesn't have and is selling. Now, when we look at what Web3 can do, Web3 can make it an equal ground for anybody to resell, and you don't need to have specialized tools. What we're building is a way for venues to distribute direct to their users. So they don't need to have a Ticketmaster or have a StubHub or SeatGeek, and they can control their resale. And I think that's the fundamental issue with fraud. Once most of your tickets are sold to scalpers, and you want to make a buck based off the current players, and I won't say names, I think the ultimate truth is you need to have a solution where everybody can resell, and a portion of that goes back to the artist and venue, because none of that money goes to the creatives, none of that money goes to the event organizers, and none of that goes to the venue.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's ridiculous. I'm from Atlanta, and the Braves were in the World Series. Go Braves. And I remember just everybody being online and trying to buy tickets to the World Series, to like the hottest ticket that you could get. But so many were just eaten up by these scalpers or by these bots. And it just didn't create opportunity for like the real fans, like the people that actually lived in the city, to go and enjoy the experience, to be part of their city. You know, just, I mean, it was just, it's so fun.
It's terrible.
So yeah, Elena, tell me about you and your perspective, and how do you think that this will transform how we are currently using ticketing today?
I think in terms of statistics on fake tickets, it's a really impressive number. It's 1 out of 10 tickets that is fake right now in the United States. It's a crazy number. And it doesn't only hurt our event organizer who is selling the ticket. It also hurt just people who want to come and enjoy a show. And they simply can't because they got a fake ticket and no one wants to let them in. And they have no way to get this money back. And of course, our initial goal was to start fighting against these fakes and make sure that both sides can enjoy. Event organizer can have a great event experience. They don't need to worry about fake tickets. They get their money for their hard work. And at the same time, guests can simply get a ticket and get to enjoy the show. But then we started realizing that smaller event organizers, they don't really care much about the fakes. They just want more people in their event. They don't really care about it. They want to have a smoother process to onboard people. They want to collect data from guests that are coming to their event. And the bigger part is the community, because that's what really matters right now. Because if you're a small event organizer, you are no one without your community. You don't yet have a brand name. You have to spend lots of money on marketing every time you're organizing an event to make sure you at least break even. And then if you're using, I don't know, Ticketmaster, and you can't even use Ticketmaster if you're a small event organizer. You simply can't. Yeah. But if you're using Eventbrite, there is no actual tool to build your community. And you have to start over again and again promoting your event. But what we're giving a chance to build that community and also take an ownership over this community, because it's NFT and it lives outside of our platform. It lives on the blockchain, so you always have your community with you, regardless of whatever is happening on the market. And I think that's a very important part. And on top of that, you can engage with your community and just build relationships.
Absolutely. Yes. So for those of you that don't know, Elena is co-founder of Supermoon Camp, which is an incredible community. Is anybody here involved in Supermoon? Yay. So are you incorporating any sort of that concept that you just mentioned with the Supermoon community?
Yes, for sure. Supermoon camp community is definitely a big part of, I don't know, like first of all, we're building community, right? And that's how I can also say for small event organizers from that perspective, because I felt this pain personally. I know what the industry needs, and I've been organizing events before, so I understand the pain points. And integrating Flashback into all Supermoon camp activities also helped us to speed up the process and have a better communication and engagement with our community. So it's definitely, yeah, it's a big part of any events we're going to be organizing, and Flashback makes the whole process way simpler.
Thank you. So Ahmed, tell me about your background and how did you get into this space? Oh, you worked for Ticketmaster for 10 years. So, wow, you are coming from like the ticketing company, and I see your face right now. So I think that's why we're all here. We are leaving industries that weren't working anymore. They weren't working for us. They weren't working for the environments that they served, and it ultimately just became this form of unconscious capitalism, in my opinion, around these concepts. So I don't know about you, but for me, I quit several of those organizations because I just had enough. So what was your kind of transition from leaving Ticketmaster to what you're doing now? And tell me more about that. Tell us more about that.
Well, like working in ticketing, like you get the chance to experience a lot of great things, meet artists, sports teams, and talk with venues and promoters. On the product side, I got to hear explicitly about what they thought about Ticketmaster a lot. Now, when I made the transition is when I realized a lot of those people started becoming my friends. And I started seeing what they go through. Who here in the room knows what an event advance is? If you do, put your hand up. An event advance.
Event advance, no.
So, an event advance is given to promoters that are growing, that don't necessarily have the capital to effectively do larger festivals, but they've shown amazing traction. What companies in ticketing do is they give them a signing bonus or a advance on tickets. They lock them in exclusivity deals and back in their tickets. Now, it becomes a very vicious cycle. Yes, the promoter grows because now they have more scale to do production, but ultimately it causes them to be caught up in a way where they lose their resale, they lose understanding of their customer, and they lose the things that made them special. Why I left Ticketmaster is I realized Web3 had something that could change this. We can create tickets that are NFTs, make it simple for users to use, and use that as collateral to give event advances that are less predatory. We can give them the ability to understand their user by linking phone numbers to wallets, being able to pay them faster, being able to give them the things that cause them to get into these deals in the first place, which is ultimately, hey, it takes a lot of money to do a promotion. Hey, it takes a lot of money to do an event. So you're gonna do whatever you can to get it off the ground. And that's where we started as a B2B platform. We started from the place of, hey, how do we set these people up for success? How do we give them the ability to grow? And how do we make them closer to their customer? Because ultimately the vehicle for us is not Web3 as a concept, it's Web3 to do those three things. Pay them faster, give them access to capital, and allow them to understand their customer and deliver loyalty.
I would love to add on that because this is the perfect idea, and this is why I love ticketing on the blockchain so much. But what we faced in Europe, and especially in the DACH region, is that here in the States you have limited possibilities, but in Europe you have limited rules. So there are in Europe you have, as a person, you have the right to be forgotten, which is kind of impossible when you're thinking about the blockchain. So, like a normal...
Wait, can you say that again? Right to...
To be forgotten.
Okay.
So all your data should be deletable. So, but if it's on a Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever blockchain, you actually cannot delete it. So you need another way for data security. And this is why for NFT ticketing in Europe, someone needs to find a great solution where data security is secured, more or less. And that's a huge challenge. So there might be some possibilities with private blockchains or a hybrid idea of bringing them together, but this is really crucial. And I don't want to talk so much about the bad things here, but also the possible things. And what I really love with NFTs for ticketing is that actually you can increase the fan engagement so much. Because if you have one event and then your fan buys your NFT ticket, then you as an artist can say, okay, if you have been to my concert, so then I will invite that special NFT token for my next event. Or you can come to my Telegram group, ask me some questions, or you get a special merch or something like this. So there are limitless possibilities, and so for Europe, there needs to be a great solution soon, hopefully.
Yeah, and so how would the artist notify the person that has the NFT? would they have to do it through regular social channels that are out there now, that just like tweeting or Instagramming, or that's, I'm just curious from not being too familiar in this space.
Yep. Yeah, basically that's how it works.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, interesting.
So you can just say on Telegram, whatever, so who was on the, yeah, give me a proof that you have been there. And then you have your NFT ticket, and then you have the proof, basically.
Yeah, there are ways, like today, like the technology is growing, right? There are ways this could be as easy as a push notification. The concepts of like being able to say, hey, this is an airdrop can literally be, yes, we drop this into your wallet, but the user doesn't need to know that. The user can just see that as a push notification and be able to say, hey, I get to redeem merch. Concession today is a $1 to $2 million opportunity a day piece at like a place like Madison Square Garden. It's one of the biggest revenue driver for artists.
Pizza at Madison Square Garden. Is that what you said?
Food, merch, all of
Wow.
including pizza. I think pizza is a big part of that opportunity size, but
Interesting.
this is a big revenue driver for artists, venues, and promoters. So airdrops are huge, right? Like, so if when somebody scans into a venue, if they've been there 10 times for seeing a Saints game, they should be rewarded for that. They should, you know, especially if they're traveling. A lot of sports fans not only go to their home stadiums, they travel for traveling games. So then as a sports team owner, you're like, okay, how do I reward these people? How do I set these people up for success? They're traveling for games, they're spending money. Can we work out a deal with another stadium where we could do airdrops? And how do we do this in a way that's simple? Ultimately, these are opportunities for collaboration and growth that now creates an ecosystem of not community on the consumer side, but community on the venue side, community on brand opportunity side. It becomes a huge economic ecosystem that's being hampered today by Live Nation, Ticketmaster, and all these other players that, you know, ultimately could be something that can grow and be bigger than a $25, $30 billion opportunity size in North America.
That's so interesting. Yeah, there's just infinite possibilities in the NFT space in general. Elena, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, that's for sure. We're discussing a lot about NFTs being used, right? NFT tickets. And actually 1 year ago, a little bit less than 1 year ago, but I was speaking at another stage at NFT.NYC at Palladium, and we were discussing how the industry will change like within a year. And we were predicting that, NFT ticketing will be something that every single organizer will start using because it makes so much sense. Yeah, it does make so much sense for us people living in the crypto bubble, right? Understanding how to use MetaMask, understanding how to use all these terms, blockchains, and it's not confusing for us. We understand why NFT ticketing is important, what are the royalties and how to use them. But is it that clear to a general person outside of crypto space? No. They don't really care about it. And they want something simple. They don't want to wait for a blockchain transaction to go through. They just want a ticket. They just want to go to, I don't know, Broadway show. And we started a conversation with Broadway as well. And that system is very old. People don't want to really change. And how can we ask our people sitting, I don't know, when they have a nice office, I don't know, they already have their life all set, why do they need to go and start integrating some new solutions that they don't understand? So what we started realizing with Flashback, that NFT ticketing can be adopted, but it should be built in a different way that people can understand. In a more, unfortunately, Web 2. And you have to start as a Web 2 company to explain to people what is Web 3 and start leading them to a Web 3. You cannot expect people buy a ticket for a show and download a MetaMask and start figuring out, how to do a crypto transaction to buy the ticket. No, it's not going to work. And I think that's the biggest challenge and problems that exist right now in the industry, that people within the crypto space don't really understand and maybe don't really want to understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about problem solving. And so what would you say is the, how do we get the masses to adopt this with the barriers of entry? And so, Ahmed, it looks like you wanted to say something around this.
Building just for that right now. Like, I'm very familiar with venues use currently for their ticketing systems. Venue owners and teams don't want to change. You know, Elena's absolutely right about this. Like, They want to be able to transition their current systems and make more money, yes, but it's a huge risk to them. Our hypothesis is give them something that's familiar. They have entire operations from, will call to support that's already built out. And this is their bread and butter, ticketing. So yes, it's definitely the hard side of the market, but what we're doing at Kid Labs is we're making it simple. We're like, hey, listen, we're plugging in as a silo. We're giving you everything you have today. There's no change here. We're speaking your language, and we're eating the processing fees that could be potentially $3 to $10 million if you're a big enough team. So ultimately, venue owners, festivals, and promoters, they do want to shift over, but they want it in their own language. It's a weird kind of thing to say. You have to speak their language, and I agree with Elena wholeheartedly. Like, I think in crypto, we speak too much of our own. And it's really, you have to understand the world they're in order to transition them over, and you have to understand their product today. And that's what you need to build in to get that long tail adoption.
Absolutely, and that's why, for example, we're not saying to our general market, we're not saying we're an NFT ticketing platform. I'm going to say it here on the stage because majority of people here understand what we're talking about, right? I would mention it to investors, I would mention it to people who have an idea, but I'm never going to pitch it to a brand, to our event organizer, to a venue. I'm going to, as you said, speak their language. I will give them solutions that they already understand and that they can integrate, and make sure that their guests will not have any challenges going through and learning about crypto NFT while they're just using an app for the first time.
So what is the risk for these organizations? I mean, I have an idea, but I'm curious your perspective, all three of you. I mean...
I can speak for it. I mean, if you're an event organizer, especially, let's say you're a big brand, right? And you have your customers, you have your reputation, and if you're trying to proceed with a new solution right away, there is a risk that you can fail, and you can lose your existing customer base, and you can damage your reputation. Of course, big brands, they don't want to do it. That's why all new technologies are coming step by step. They're being integrated for some simple test runs, for their maybe side shows, or for some small gatherings that this event organizer is throwing. So it's always coming step by step, and they need to make sure that it's not affecting the main process that they already have in place. But they're ready to change, just very, very slow. And they want to make sure that there is no risk for them and for their customers.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of artists that are moving into the space, and they have huge fans, massive followings, and it's almost like, will it take the fans to adopt this concept? Will it be us and the fans that will have to completely adopt this concept before the Ticketmaster and all the other event companies out there will finally adopt?
I don't think it's going to be the ticketing provider. I think it's going to actually be on the venue, the promoter side. I think there's a lot of pain points there that they're looking at this right now. And when you look at risks, it's ultimately like, is Solana, Polygon, and these chains up? And are they too expensive to mint on? Like, if you have a 50,000 people event, that's 50,000 NFTs. If you want to call them tickets and do it in fiat, whatever, however you want to do it, right? There's 50,000 NFTs. How long does it take to mint 50,000 NFTs with their own smart contract? On Solana, it can vary to 20, 24 hours, X, Y, and Z. Now that event contract probably has name, description, ticket types. And a promoter can change that information at any time. Tickets can change, add-ons can change. So now you have to mint another 50,000 tickets. This is the exact issue that you need to solve for. You need to solve for the issue of change. You need to solve for the issue of ambiguity and serendipity in music, festivals, and the chaos there. Ultimately, that is the biggest risk in my mind, and I think in order for us to get adoption for this, you need to start off really small with these players. You need to start off small with festivals and venues.
And for you, what do you see taking place in Europe? I'll let you answer that.
We need more proof of concept so that they see that this actually works, that the technology has the right performance also for huge events, and that the latency is below 1 second. If you're scanning a ticket. And then step by step, I guess more artists will choose, hopefully, different ticketing companies for that as well, because they will earn more money and there will be another spread of payment flows, actually. But yeah, it's risky, but with every new technology, it needs time to be adapted, and it needs great people to start adapting it from themselves. So I guess I see the artists here, but yeah, the other problem is that they have a lot of contracts also with ticketing companies, and they own the venues, so...
Exactly, yes. I mean, what's so cool
many
about this
risks.
space is like we are literally like just like breaking down this massive system that's in place, and that just has taken the dollars from the creators. And so I just think that's so interesting.
And that's one of the parts also why we started, for example, talking to Broadway. Not because Broadway and like they wanted to change, because artists wanted a change. Like how it works right now.
Yes.
You're coming
They're
for,
so mad right now. And just it's ridiculous. Yeah.
And you're coming to a show, what's happening? You're like they're handing you a paper with the names of artists that are performing at the show. Who's gonna read this paper? Like I saw like everyone just leaving them on the chair. It's dark. Everyone used to like use smartphones. No one wanna read this paper. No one wanna carry this paper back home. And at the end of the day, you have no idea who was performing there at the show. Even if you like the artist, maybe you will Google it. Like maybe you will Google the name a bit later, but most likely no. So you will forget about this artist. And all these artists that performing at the Broadway, they also have their separate cabarets, they have their other shows, and they are missing an opportunity to connect with their community, with people who are actually coming to watch them.
Yes, they do, and it's community. You're only as strong as your community, as they say. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Elena, Ahmed, and Christiane. Thank you so much. We are on to the next speaker, so we will go ahead and mosey off the
Excellent.
stage.
Thank you so much. A big hand. Yes. A new horizon for live events. Wonderful.